So if you're starting new ideas in a big company, you always start with a very small team. You don't build a successful building with 6 architects. You build a successful building with 1 architect. And I think that's a really important point. So the smallness wasn't that big of a thing. I think for me, I had to learn a lot of things as the CEO. So one of them was motivating development. You have a set of DNA yourself. And one of the things that I would say that you kind of learn over your career is to assess what your DNA is. Mine is sales and marketing. And I say them in that order because that's me. Other people's are engineering or product development. Others might be, finance. And so understanding what's your DNA is what I call it. In other words, there's a couple of things that happen there. You make every decision, and the older you get, you hone it down because you've been successful. And you hone it down to a smaller and smaller lens that you start to look at every problem with. This is like human nature. And you have to continually, in entrepreneurialism or in innovation, to continue to make that lens be wider. But you have to remember that you always are looking at a problem through the eyes of your DNA. When a customer says no or something doesn't work, I immediately go to the how could we fix it, what could we do to convince them. That's my DNA. Other people that I ended up having to lead would basically say, oh, well, we need to go back and fix the product and let me re-engineer it and all those kinds of things. So I think the big thing, that was a personal cultural thing around being the CEO and leading all disciplines towards a single target made me really stop and say, what do I need to add to me? And when I say add to me, you can't add to yourself. Like you just can't all of a sudden become a product development person. What you need to do is add to your team the DNA of the other roles that are important to go forward. So first it was this kind of self-assessment coming from leading successful sales and marketing teams in some of the biggest, fastest growing companies in the world and small companies. And then, so that was one. And then second of all was this, how do I build the team? And then the final thing was, it was a really big experience, learning experience for me, was the relationship between the CEO and the board. And I'm very upfront with this. I actually was very upfront with it with Tom once in a counseling session that I asked him to come talk to me about this. It was very, very difficult for me not to think about the money that people invested in Alpha Blocks under my tutelage as a loan. It was really hard for me. I mean, I was in my 40s, and I had been in many successful companies, and I just still emotionally myself, I wasn't looking at it as investment at risk versus investing that money, that I was a better risk for that investor to take than it was, Polly, I'm lending you this money, go make it be successful. It was really interesting. I don't know why I had such a hard time with it, but you asked me a personal question, I gave you a personal answer. But that's it. That's great.